Like this is families walking around, chilling, having a good time, and then by the time night comes, you're like getting like different crowds.
What they say, the monsters come out at night. Like, hey, it's different. Hollywood, California.
Yeah, exactly.
Hollywood. We are here in Hollywood, California. FTF Radio. It's true. It's good to be back. We've been on a little break, vacationing, just traveling around. I'm here with the Justice Marley, director, founder of MOREJUSTICE.
Yup.
Let's get into it, yo. I'm so excited. It's been a long time coming. Good to be here.
Yeah, no. When you told me about it, I was like, I definitely want to do that. As I was saying, like my sister had a podcast, and I did that. That was the first one I did, and I was
Shout
like,
out to the family.
I can do this.
Wow. What is it? Shout out. What's your sister's podcast?
It was actually for a pilot podcast that she's working on with for Pharrell's, what's this thing called?
The human race?
Yeah, human race. No, not human race. Other Tone.
Oh, word.
Other Tone.
Word. Yeah. All right. Shout out, sis. Yo,
shout out, sister.
A whole squad of creatives just staying at it. Man, you know we got that for personal use in the cut, ready to play that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Bam.
Shout out to Bam.
But MOREJUSTICE. Okay, I love this summary. I'll call the log line. I come from the acting world. It's like, oh, your log line for yours. It's so perfect. MOREJUSTICE, a brand that believes in the transformative power of community and creative expression that art, fashion, and culture bring forward.
Exactly.
A woman-owned brand. Justice, tell us about MOREJUSTICE. How did you come to? Where did all this come from? What is the inspiration?
Honestly, to be quite honest, I always loved design. I always loved creativity. I was like a DIY kid. I was always doing arts and craft growing up. My mom was very much into the arts, and of course my family, musical family, creative family. So we were always, in the creative scene, in the creative world. I feel like I loved music. I can sing. I played the piano. I know a little something on the guitar.
Okay. This is all new information here.
Surprise!
If anybody didn't know. Word.
Hidden talents. But I kind of segued into fashion just by seeing my aunts, get on stage, seeing everybody's drip, seeing my grandpa's drip, seeing my mom, she's super fashionable as well. And I think I just loved getting dressed as well too. Like that was a part of
that
like
feeling when you're getting ready.
And being cute and being a little girl, because I was like kind of surrounded by mostly boys. So being a little girl, like growing up, having like my sneakers, my this, my that, and I just naturally I think I just naturally enjoyed it. And so I wanted to, go into fashion, and I went to art school, and then I moved here and went to fashion school. I went to FITM. And then, it just kind of rolled into having my own brand.
It's all just like an organic trail of
very
events.
Organic, exactly.
That's amazing. Were there any moments in your childhood where you saw design or like fashion design, any work with textiles and stuff growing up? Or?
Yeah. My grandma sewed.
Word.
There was this lady, her name is Mummy Don. Shout out to Mummy Don. She works at my grandpa's museum, the Bob Marley Museum in Jamaica.
Word.
And she knits there, and she knits things for people who come and visit and stuff. So
that's such a tedious practice.
Yeah, so she would be on site knitting like custom stuff, and I would always hang around her. And she just taught me how to knit, taught me how to do a couple of things, and so my grandma, her, and just being around people who were fashion forward.
Word. So always just being surrounded by that. I remember seeing like quilts growing up, and just like seeing my grandmother work with that, seeing my mom work with that. Such a tedious. So how much patience do you feel like you've also naturally learned in your own practice?
Ooh, that's a good question, because it's not easy at all. Like half the time when I'm like sewing, I'm like ready to throw the sewing machine. I'm like, get this thing away, especially if it jams up.
Right.
I'm like, get it away. I can't. But I like take a break. Give myself some grace, give myself some time. I'll like go drink some water, come back, fix whatever I need to fix, and then start back. And then when you see your finished product, it just reminds you, patience is key. Patience is key.
Patience is key, and you're right. Like I remember this. Actually, I feel like it's a quote Pharrell said in some interview. He's like, you don't go into it thinking about the end product. You just look up and then you're kind of there. So I mean, in your process, what are some of the exciting moments and what are some of those challenging moments when it comes to arriving at these final products? I mean, first, before you even get to that, how would you describe your artistic practice?
Very natural, very spiritual, very much need nature in my life. I need to go outside. I need to remember who I am. I need to return to the root of like where I am. I always like revert to like listening to my grandfather's music, getting in, just feeling empowered through my ancestors, through my family, through nature. And that definitely drives my creative process for sure.
And so, wow, well, that kind of speaks to exactly what I'm thinking about is like when you find those challenging moments of thinking about where you want to end up and then just where you arrive. What do those moments look like for you when you're designing and you're revising or you're reworking ideas? What's that process like for you?
So like when I initially start based off of an idea, based off of a memory or something, I'll go through it and like really vigorously write I'm a list person. Like I'll write lists.
Wow.
I'll write everything down. I love to like write shit down still. So I write everything down and I make sure like I see my vision on paper. Then I'll go to designing and I'll like draw inspo, draw colors, draw everything, and then it'll kind of tie in. But I think that when I'm in that process, I really have to kind of like draw back a little bit because I remember this one quote from Virgil, and he was like, he said something like, change it only like 2% or 1%, like your initial thing. So then that stuck with me because if you keep changing, you'll change forever as a creative for me.
You're going to keep trying to, that translates to so much to music. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Like, damn, that one dial, like now everything has to readjust. How do you keep what do you remind yourself when you're like, okay, let me not go too far, or like, when you're just like, okay, I know when I need to step back. I know when something I can let it be done. Yeah,
I think I always remind myself, like, listen, you're working on this, so you're seeing it every single day. No one else, the public isn't seeing this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They haven't even got
they don't know what this looks like. I'm just the one doing it. So once I put it out in the world, like feedback is always good too. Like put it out in the world. There's always room to like revise things, you know? Like, absolutely. I think we hold ourselves to these like super crazy constraints where it's like, oh, perfect. But perfect isn't real. You put things out there. There's always room and time to change things around, Switch it up.
So with that, I love what you said, always needing to go back to your roots. And you just recently came back from a trip with your fam to Jamaica.
Yes.
How was that trip? What was that like being back?
It was beautiful. It was bittersweet, but it was very beautiful. I needed that. I feel like the reason I was there was so powerful to me. And then people bring you back to your roots. And I'm so grateful for my cousin, Joe Mercer. Shout out to Joe Mercer.
Shout out, Joe.
Because he brought me back there and I was able to feel inspired and be around my family, which I hadn't been in a minute around them, and also be in Jamaica. Like, he brought me home. So it was just like...
So much gratitude
in that. And I was just feeling blessed,
Being with family... in the place of origin is so powerful.
Yes, and we were going up to we went up to where my grandfather's tombstone is as well in 9 Mile. So it was just so powerful to see us all walk up that hill and walk up because it's like a hill to get there. We drove a bus, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. As I was on my drive up, it's just like feeling gratitude, so much gratitude.
What were some of those? What were some you mentioned when you drawing back from memories when you're designing? What are some of those memories you're holding on to from that trip?
Just like seeing the Rastaman, the Rastafarians chant and being up on the hill drumming, like the Nyabingi drumming and all the chanting that they were doing. It was spiritual. It was I just closed my eyes at one point and I was just like, be here, be present, And in that moment, it just felt so transformative. Yeah. And where it is up on the hill, there's like backyards. Everyone's in their backyard. So once people started hearing this one chant, like neighbors were coming out and joining the chant. So it was just like it was like unity.
I'm getting chills listening
to that. It was just
That's
like
crazy.
unity right there and then, and I was like, this is where I get all this from, you know? Because
Unity Club. Wow.
Unity Club. I'm
yeah.
like, look at that. Like, we can't go outside and start drumming and people are joining us here.
That's actually like, I mean, just the image that I'm getting, hearing you talk about that, like, I'm just imagining this courtyard and like, it's like when you see movies and, you know, somebody blows the horn for war. Like,
exactly.
Like, they hear that call. Like, that's so
it's
moving.
a spiritual call. And it was just
spiritual.
like, look at that. Like, this is people in unity. You hear someone chant and you come out and you join them.
Right.
And no one thought anything of it. We were just like, yeah.
It's like, this is how it is.
This is how it is. Like, join us. Like, let's go.
I feel like I get that energy when like I see you share like you've been talking about this hat. I don't know if I can say that. Like,
yeah, you
like
can.
You know, these new drops, like the way that you'll invite people into sharing the experience of Unity Club versus, oh, here, let me, you know, I'm trying to deliver you something. Like,
yeah.
It's very welcoming. It's very like invitational, almost like the story you just shared.
Yeah.
What are some of the, how did you come to arriving at Unity Club? When did you launch your brand?
I launched my brand, it was a while ago. I want to say when I graduated from FIDM, not too long after that. So I want to say 18? No,
Wow.
2017, sometime around there. And I got on the phone with my dad and I was like, I'm going to start a clothing brand, like, da-da-da-da-da. And like, you know, and I want to include my name. And he was giving me like, name options. And then we just kind of both decided. He helped me, actually. We both decided on MOREJUSTICE. And then it was just like, yeah, MOREJUSTICE, because through my creativity, through my fashion, through all of that, I want to share my moral codes. I want to share my, you know, where I'm from through this, through fashion. Yeah.
It sounds like a calling. You know,
Yeah.
every time like when I wear that brown Unity Club hat and I'm out and people are like, oh, like what is this? It's like, oh, MOREJUSTICE. Like, it sounds like a call. Like, it's like, you know, it's just, it sounds like hearing the drum and it's like, yo, if you know, it's like, yeah, pull up. Like,
exactly. Even when I wear it, because I don't like to, when I go out and I wear it, I'm not like, oh, this is my brand. I let people have their natural reaction to it. And it just brings me so much joy because it's the reaction that I want.
Right.
But I'm not like, oh, it's my brand. I'm just like, this is it. Like, people are like, MOREJUSTICE. I love that. People are like Unity Club, like, and many different type of people too. So it's like, look at it. It's like
very inclusive.
Inclusive. And it just reminds me, like, I'll never be my grandpa, but his music was to bring people together. And his music is loved by many different people, ethnicities from all over the world. And it's like, my brand, MOREJUSTICE, is a brand that is a worldwide brand. Right. And you can't get mad at MOREJUSTICE. How can you get mad?
Yeah, everybody needs MOREJUSTICE. Everybody could use some unity in their life.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, no, and that speaks to what I, you know, when I read, you know, the transformative power of community. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, even on that, so, you know, when you also do a lot of creative direction, styling, art direction, how much of that do you find yourself kind of tapping in with your community and offering your services and ideas to others, as well as bringing people into your world of MOREJUSTICE?
Well, I think I work a lot with my brother, and then I work with some creative studios on and off, like just like freelancing. I've worked for Parkwood, assisting a creative director, assisting. That's Beyonce's camp. I worked with another creative studio called Sunset Studios, and they do a lot of like installations. So they did one for Coachella, V Magazine, Nike, and other stuff like that. So I dabble in that realm of like freelancing when it comes to like doing my creative directing, but I'm really trying to like now make that like more, you know, like upfront too as well.
Word. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely feel that. And that's so. Is this because you just did a project with BAM that you're working on?
Yeah.
When is that coming out? Is that something that you're gonna use to like, all right, come on, like tap in, like,
yeah, exactly,
showing everything you really got. Word. Okay. Well, what does that vision look like for you? How do you want to be? Where do you want to be taking things?
So, as Bam's my brother, as you know, so I think like knowing him personally and knowing also where we come from and like the image and just like wanting to like him to be his true self. I think he just dropped his EP for personal use only, which I actually helped him come up with all of that and helped him with his like artwork and stuff like that.
But which is incredible, and the artist who paints.
The artist is incredible. That came out so sick.
Amazing.
I've been waiting for him to use that. He's had it for some time now.
Wow.
So I'm just like, yo, you have to use this.
Oh, see, creative direction. So what is creative direction, art direction to you? How do you define that practice?
To me, it's listening, like if it's for an artist with music, I listen to the song. And honestly, I go off of how I feel, like creatively, and what I see, images when I listen to the song. I like play a movie in my head.
Word.
You know, I like bring the song to life in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the feelings that I get, whether I feel sad, happy, energy, like a summertime, like I think about seasons, I think about emotions, and then I just like go off of that. Colors dial back into emotions, and like, you know, what you feel when you see a color. So a lot of that plays into part with like creative direction for me.
Do you how much storyboarding and mood boarding do you find yourself doing?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
I start storyboarding for things that I haven't even like really created yet. If I have an idea, I jot it. If I have an idea,
little Lexi in his bitch.
Little Lexi. If I have an idea, I jot it down. So, and then I start creating a mood board. And I might not even have the name for it, but I just start.
That sounds fire. I feel like that's a good moment to run a couple of these records on for personal use.
Let's go.
We might have to let the folks hear that. I'm gonna start with one of my favorites. Shout out Bam. Yeah, that project just dropped. We running that. Let's see. Let's go with that. Run that. Yeah. FTF Radio. It seems like there's a place you want to start.
Well,
FTF Radio. It sounds like.
There's just this one project that I'm really excited about. It's called, and it's like based off of that trip to Jamaica, and it's just me really pouring in my roots, my family, everything that I've known as a child into this like one collection. And it's like such an emotional thing because like I definitely have to dig into my childhood and dig into those memories and like. And I'm really digging. I'm like, like what part of me and my experience am I ready to share through fashion? And I think it's gonna be beautiful, and it's just my take on my family's quote unquote religion, Rastafari. Just like that. It's my take on that. So
I feel like with any digging of that kind of sort, it's like it takes bravery.
Exactly.
You know? So, do you want to get into the project? Like, how are you translating these kind of revelations or these experiences? What are the things that you're translating into?
I'm just like showing a lot of imagery of like, moments when I'm at my grandfather's studio as a child, and just like, the religion, Nyabingi, the drumming, the this, the that, like all of that spiritual realm.
This would be a good moment. How will you define the religion for people who aren't familiar, and for people who maybe are like really only used to it from this like mainstream American lens or movies or
I would say it's definitely like just being your true self and like roots and just like natural and just like, sticking to what Jah gave you, I think, and like living off the land and eating from the land and taking care of your body because you are a part of this world and just like, more so. It's a mentality.
Living with the land and knowing you're a part of this world, like
and knowing where you're connected, roots. Like the other day, like I was like not feeling my best self, and I was just like, go outside and lay on the floor, like the ground, the grass.
Had to soak up some sun
and just like be one with the ground. And I was just laying there, and I was just like, I feel so much better.
And that's so tough. That feels so tough. I feel you, especially like like just when it feels so far from home.
Exactly.
It's like, what are the things that I can do to still ground and connect?
Exactly.
in that same way that I would if I'm just walking around barefoot. You know, I'm not looking at the concrete on the ground. Like I'm looking at the trees. I'm looking at the water. Like the breeze. Like for me, it's like the breeze. You know, like when I go home and when like being in Belize, like feeling that breeze.
Oh yeah,
it's
you were
like,
just there.
Oh my God, like that's.
Tell me about it. Let me switch the script.
Yo, I've never been. This is new. Just hit a reverse.
Right.
Nah, you know what?
Plot twist.
It was. It was a very freeing. I mean, you're touching on a lot that I felt like just a very freeing time. Like I had been having a lot of dialogues internally with myself, kind of being like, okay, you know, I'm first generation here.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be Belizean American, not just African American or Belizean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Confronting the fact that like I come from both of these sides. Been having a lot of internal dialogues about like, you know, what experiences I was holding on to in childhood that like maybe weren't mine. And then experiences that are mine that I neglected, traditions, practices, like, you know, like just being out there, I was really like just eating, living with the land, you know what I'm saying? Eating off the land, like eating traditional, you know, only listening to traditional music and, you know, like really, because for me, it's like I've been going through this phase of reconnecting and remembering. So yeah, it's like, it was really freeing to be back. And like, that's why what you're saying, it's like, wow, like to go out and lay on the grass, like for me, that's, when I went outside to move my car and I like felt the breeze hit, it like reminded me of like being back home.
You're just like, what, you feel nature. Like,
yeah, you need that.
Yeah,
as
nature
an artist,
is so important.
As a human being, really, like, but especially as an artist, you need like some nature in
I mean, well, you are nature. Like, that's what we are. Like, you know, and only if we thought like that, I think life would be a little bit easier. Like,
so,
yo,
you know
like
what?
the trees growing, the leaves are falling off, and we shed, we change course, you know, just have to go with the flow.
Facts. That's deep. That's real. Hey, that's like a very, we are nature. Hey, sometimes the leaves fall off. The trees got to grow. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's a cycle. That's shout out Greg Newman. Greg is an incredible artist, and you know what? He always has this acronym that's like man mirrors nature. And I'm butchering. I just paraphrased slightly. Yeah. But shout out Greg, like I always remember that about him. Like he's always like, yeah, man mirrors nature. And like I feel like the older I get, like those moments always just be like, yeah, like that's such a real deep knowing and understanding. Yeah. So what are your like favorite places in nature to be going? Like especially because California, you got a lot of spots. I mean, I won't say a lot in LA, but you know, you can find those spots.
You could find those spots. I mean, when I moved here, I would say like I definitely was looking forward to the beach. I was like, I'm a beach girl. Like I want to go to the beach every day. But then I came here and the water was so cold, and I was like, oh, never mind. Like I'll just go and look at it.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy.
No, like when you went to Jamaica, were you in the water?
I was in the water. I was literally a mermaid. I was in there. I got on a boat. I was just like in the water. It was so nice.
You know what my favorite memory of being in Jamaica is? Well, two. One was climbing, and I forget the name. I don't remember the name of the waterfall I went to. But
Dunn's River? Was it Dunn's River?
That sounds familiar.
There's a bunch.
Yeah, I'm like, but I'm not sure if that was. I'm gonna circle back to that.
Yeah, let's circle back.
I should know where I was. It was so my mom she was a principal of a school, and she would take our field trips were called heritage journeys.
Oh, nice.
And like we did like a bus trip down to the south. We like a group of us went to Africa, like a group of us went to Jamaica, and we went to like a bunch of plantations in Jamaica and like a bunch of waterfalls. Like there was a few spots that like I really held on to, but I was in maybe, God, I probably was like third grade. Like
okay.
I was young, so you know what I'm saying? I haven't been back since then. Like, but that's like a memory that I hold on to the most, just
little
because,
core memory.
Yeah, like just on some, I don't know what it was about climbing that waterfall and like getting to the top of it and like.
Did you jump?
I did. Whoa. Yeah, like that's one thing, because I feel I don't be swimming in the waters out here in LA. Like Maybe up the coast, like San Francisco, Central California, but it's freezing.
I get in there every now and then this summer I'm like, I'm gonna surf. Like, I'm getting myself a wetsuit.
Where you going in?
I'm going in.
Are you taking lessons? Are you gonna start soon?
My friend surfs, so I'm betting on her to teach me the way.
Yeah, you got a professional. Okay, dang, you know what? So that's so fire. Like, I mean, shout out. There's like surf lessons, Ebony Beach Club. Like
Ebony Beach Club.
I need to give it a shot.
No,
let's give it a shot.
Come with me.
Have you tried already?
No, I boogie board. Like,
okay, yeah. So I mean, that's the step right before.
Step one.
Yeah. I don't think I've even boogie boarded out here. Like, that was just some shit I did in the pool. Like,
right.
It's like you just grab the boogie board, or like at wave pools. Like,
I remember that.
I've been paddle boarding. I mean, I learned how to swim because my grandpa would take us to this place called the Sandbar in the ocean. He'd be like, all right, you got to swim under the wave, like.
And to get to the sandbar.
Yeah, like, so but it's weird. Like, I feel like swimming in the ocean and surfing is just, for some reason, they feel like two different worlds.
That's how I feel too. I'm like, surfing is, I'm like still like confused on how it actually, I'm like, we're getting in there, we're going in the wave.
I know the theory, like, right, like, and you know what? I was watching, who was speaking about Brian Eno. Brian Eno is a dope, like, just philosopher, electronic musician, OG, like, quote unquote old head. He's just fire. Like, I'm into his shit. He was talking like about music and a process of surfing, because it's like this form of surrender where you like. At moments you're in control, and then at moments you're not, and then moments you're taking control, and moments you're releasing control.
That makes so much sense.
That alone made me want to try surfing. Before that, all I could think was, damn, this is deep water, and who knows? Like, I seen videos of dolphins knocking surfers off. I'm like, bro, it gets wild out there.
It's chaotic out there.
Yeah, but that's exciting. What kind of brought your interest to that?
Just being from an island. I like being in the ocean. I'm just like, okay, so you guys aren't necessarily swimming like that. So the sport out here for the ocean is surfing. Out in Jamaica, you're just going into the ocean.
Okay, I was about to say, is there surfing for sport out there much?
I feel like they started. I think I came across something the other day where I see some people like surfing.
Right.
But I don't think the climate. I think when the water is colder, you get bigger waves.
Yeah, I think there's something about the heat with waves for sure. And that's interesting, because I don't think I've seen a lot of surfers in many Caribbean places, but I'm sure they have to exist.
Yeah, for sure.
I know a lot of like kayaking and sport, like boating sports for sure. Like I just saw a kayak race when I was in Belize. I was like, that's,
oh really, there?
Yeah, it was so
nice.
random. I was into it. Do you find like a lot of rodeo, a lot of what are kind of like the more sport excursions that you'll find like in Jamaica?
I feel like, I'm not too sure. I feel like the men and women, obviously, they play football. We call it soccer football. Right. And there's a lot of, as you know, Usain Bolt. So there's a lot of track racing, I feel like.
I feel that, like maybe more cross country, like a lot of endurance driven sports.
Exactly.
Yeah, fire. Because you're also like, I mean, you want to chill and enjoy the island too. So
yeah.
No, that's fire. Hey, recently I gotta tap in the Galaxy joint the other day. Looked so incredible.
It was so fun.
Yeah, how did that? I mean, and also like you're seeing an element of your work, like kind of trickle into such different spaces, like being a creative director. How was that?
It was good. I mean, I'm so proud of my brother. He loves football. So this was like a full circle moment where he's tying in his music and the sport that he loves.
Right.
And it was very, very like cool to finally just be at the point where you're like, oh, this is where the worlds are colliding.
Facts.
Like,
That's
what
important.
I'm saying?
That's really important.
Like his love for football and his music are coming together. They played his song during the game, during before it started and during the game. And I believe he's gonna even perform like at a halftime situation or pre-show situation there again.
So you're gonna come through on the styling for that for sure. Yeah.
Got to drip down.
Yeah. What are I mean that's so important. You just said like, so when you talk about worlds colliding, I mean you're a designer, you're an artist, you're a stylist, like you're doing so many things. What are more worlds that you're trying to get into and bring more justice to?
Cooking, I love to cook. I cook a lot of Jamaican food. I always tell myself one day I'm gonna have a cookbook. It's gonna be called More Food or More Cook. I don't know.
Right, nah.
You can see it, right?
I can see it. I can see it. Like,
but I love to cook. I love to cook for my friends, my family, my loved ones. More dish. Yo, tell me. It's gonna go off.
Different sections.
Sections.
Wow.
More veggies.
More veggies. Right, just go there. Take it there.
Take it there.
Take it there. That's fire. That's fire. What are some of your favorite things to cook right now?
My signature is curry chicken, I will say. I have that with my eyes closed, my back turned.
Wow, just sitting there. You don't even need to see nothing written.
Chop.
You got the ratios.
Got the ratios down.
Are you like cooking with heavy spice? Are you like going more savory? Is it like hot? Like what's like your flavor palette looking like when you're cooking?
Definitely a little spice.
Okay.
Spice for sure.
Okay, we like spice.
Island gal.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? I need some peppers in there. I need
some peppers.
Fire.
And I love using fresh herbs. Like, I'm all about like going to the market and getting like smelling things and figuring out if it'll be good with the dish that I'm making.
That is the cool thing about living in LA right now. The farmers markets have been really rewarding.
Yeah, it is. I love going to that on a Sunday.
Yeah,
a little cruise.
Especially that mid-city vibe, you know what I'm saying? They be having them over there, Culver City. Also Silver Lake. I feel like if you go into the Silver Lake market, that's like a pretty good one. Dang, you know what? But that just living with the land, being able to like go and like, I mean, do you garden at all? Like, are you
No,
looking?
but actually growing up, like we always had like trees, fruits bearing in the backyard. So living from the land and just being able to go outside. I'm hungry. I go outside. I pick my food.
Wow.
I pick a mango. I pick anything.
Hey,
we had almonds too in Jamaica.
You had almonds in the backyard. Wow.
Pick a fruit, pick anything you like and eat it. But I've been wanting to get into gardening. I have a lemon tree in my backyard right now.
Got some citrus. Got
some citrus. California is good for the citrus.
It really is.
So now I'm like, I need to put it to use. Like, I'm not making lemonade every day. So I'm like, now I need to.
But when life gives you lemons, I mean, it's like, hey, come on.
Hey, come on.
What we gonna do?
Little lavender lemonade, switch it up. Little rosemary lemonade.
More lemons.
More lemonade.
I mean, shoot, you could. Hey, there's so many things you could go.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, timeless.
A lot of possibilities. You know what? I love too. People don't understand like mangoes from the islands are different than mangoes out here.
So different.
It's different.
That's another thing California did. There's a lot of tricks here.
Yeah,
like the beach was a big trick. The mango was a big trick. I was like coming here.
The mango.
Everything that I'm like, ooh, it's fine. I'm moving to California. They have a beach. They have mangoes. Like life is gonna be great.
There were a lot of tricks. Yeah, parking.
Parking, reading the 25 million signs, like.
Oh my goodness, and they don't make sense. And then the time, you know what? I've been here a lot of my life, and I feel like I'm just getting to the point where like driving, I'm like, okay, I know this sign. I know this sign. This area has these. And then you know what's crazy? Living in Leimert, we ain't never had no sort of like parking permit situation. All of a sudden, gentrification is introducing parking permits on the block. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is residential.
Yeah, like, why are you charging me to park at my crib?
Hey, you know what? But I digress. You know what? We need more justice in Leimert.
More justice in Leimert. More justice worldwide.
More parking permits.
But I don't mean to get back into parking, but what I started doing was I'll Google like what all the parking things mean, and then in the yellow zones on Sundays you can park there for free.
Which don't make no sense. They don't be telling you.
I'm like, what are you talking about? And then after 7 you could park in the yellow zones. So every time
like on a regular weekday? Those loading zones, low key. Hey, anybody out there struggling for parking, if it's after 6 or 7, shout out more parking. More parking tips with Justice Marley. We'll be back. Yo, that's so real. I feel like that's like going to downtown, like going to West Hollywood places, like goodness.
And then they ticket you crazy. Like, when you want my firstborn for this parking, like what?
Yo, look, we gonna figure this out. We gonna have a parking. We might have to really get these parking tips up. Cause, I mean, even before we got started, you're like, yo, go move your car, because we're not about to deal with this. Like, I appreciate that. It was much needed.
Got you.
So I feel like, you know what? The last time I saw you, maybe like that was before I Wow, time flies. You were teasing this new trucker hat that's getting ready. What are you most excited for the world to see next from More Justice?
I'm really excited about the So Justice collection. That's the drop that is like so connected to me deeply because of childhood, because of my family. So that's the one that I'm like, I need to like make sure everything is perfect. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Oh yeah. So I'm absolutely. Absolutely. And that one's so dear to my heart. So I'm really excited about that, getting it out, just making sure it's like really embodies the vision.
How close are we to seeing that?
Not that close. Not that close. Not that close.
All right, not that close. Not that
but
close.
But I do have like, I don't know if you've seen like my silhouette of me like.
Yo, yeah.
So that one's called Run to the Sun.
Crazy. All right, see, look, this is, I got it's the perks of being on a Close Friends. It's like, hey, you get to see the sneak peeks. Like, hey, that joint is so crazy.
Yeah, and that one's also super emotional too, because it's like, I came up with that based off of just like going through the motions of like, you know, my cousin and just like the life and trials and tribulations. And like, I remembered that I need to run to the sun, run back to nature to feel, you know, feel one. So
I loved when I saw it on the denim. It was like,
the denim is sick. I want to do some more stuff with the denim.
Where I feel like that was the first time I'd seen something with some denim work. But have you worked with denim in the past? What are you like? That's what I'm saying. Like that was when I was like, damn, like when am I gonna see this out? Because I was like, damn, this is kind of crazy, yo.
I know it is. The thing is, I just screen print because I screen print as well on my own sometimes. So I just screen printed on the denim as like artwork, and then I'm like, bet I love how this looks. So
and what for folks like who don't know, what are you usually? What are people most probably familiar with? The types of pieces that you're putting out.
Just like more essential, more staple pieces. And right now I'm trying to move into more design work and more work that like really tells like my story.
Word.
Yeah.
Word. That's definitely, that's a story piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have to ask, you have to say, oh, what is, it's almost, Judy Stakey has this quote about songs. She's like, you don't write to describe the moment, you write for the moment that it's happening. Like, and I feel like that's a piece that's like, damn, it literally is like, this is a moment. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like, I can see that that's a moment.
Yeah, it's a thought provoking.
Yeah. Do you want to share that story? Is that something you want to give, or do you want to come back to that when the world gets to see it?
No, I'll share a little bit. I think, like I said, like going through the motions, going through life, coming out of like being in quarantine, like losing my cousin, being confused about like the progression. Like a lot of the times we are so hard on ourselves. Like, and like I said earlier, like, people don't see our work. We see it every day. So sometimes we might have a different view on it. But it's just like, when I was getting down and I was really feeling down, I was like, all right, I have to figure it out. Like, this is not me.
You have to figure it out.
I have to figure out this isn't me. I'm not being myself. So like I said, I went outside, and going outside every day, taking a walk, being in the sun, that's what kind of like brought that to life. And I was looking through my, like I said, I have a bunch of mood boards, and I was looking through it. Right. And there's a picture that picture of my mom that's similar to that same silhouette headshot that I have. Wow. And she has been such a like amazing mother on my journey, just always encouraging me, always being there for me. Like literally, I could like call her at any minute and she picks up the phone.
It's important. Support system is everything.
So blessed to have her. Yeah. And that reminded me, that like silhouette reminded me of my mother. And then it was just like, she would always go outside, Justice, go on a hike, go into the sun, go into nature, like you'll feel great.
Wow, so, that's fire.
Yeah.
So run into the sun.
Run to the sun.
Run to the sun, that's fire.
And that's one of my favorite songs from NERD, Run to the Sun.
Oh, wow. That's double entendre right there.
Yeah.
That's fire. That's fire. That's so important. I feel like being able to remember and go back to roots and like have pieces like that like speak so personal to you, but like even are just so universal. Like the specific, I just heard this somewhere. There's a something universal when you get real specific like that. When things get like real, just about something that's personal to you, it's like, damn, like that story is gonna connect to so many people and bring them back, like bring them comfort. It feels like a very comfort piece. Like That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love, my favorite part was just the silhouette on, I'm like, yo, there's something when you use silhouette, like it's, and maybe that's what it is, you know, it's almost like you can imagine yourself, you know, in that you can, you know, you insert yourself into the story there.
Exactly.
How many of those did you experiment with until you arrived there?
Quite a few, honestly. I did it on denim. I did it on print. Like I have it like up on like cardstock in my house, and then I have it on just like regular cotton tees, which that's another thing. I'm gonna be coming out with that, and I'm hand sewing like
fire.
I'm hand stitching a sun.
Wow.
Like it's
on each piece.
On each piece, I'm doing it all alone. I'm like, let me put my blood, sweat, and tears into this piece because of how much it means to me.
Yeah,
so,
and that energy is gonna transfer. Like,
exactly.
People are gonna feel that. That just makes me wonder, like, what your workspace looks like.
Chaotic.
What's your studio looking like?
It's chaotic. I mean, I have like a sewing machine, and then I have thread, and then I have yarn, and then I have. It's chaotic right now, but it's
just got
like
all the tools that
all
you
the
need,
tools.
like, right there.
But it all makes sense to me. You know, it all makes sense to me.
I feel like. What is a studio if it's not chaotic?
Exactly. It's like, I'm a scientist. I'm a mad scientist.
You need to have that. Hey, peace, love to the people. I love that. It's just like little joyful moments like that. That's so random. Yeah, what is a studio that's not chaotic? I don't know why that just makes me feel like it's like going into your room is like when Dexter walks into the laboratory and like shuts the door behind him and everything transforms and it's just
right.
Yeah, you just see everything that you need. I love. So, what is like your drafting process? Are you doing a lot like on paper sketches and?
I do some sketches. Yeah, I work on like Illustrator as well. So digital sketching and.
So I love these I love those moments in the process.
Yeah.
You get to see these iterations before they kind of go something. That's like my favorite thing about art books or like going to the museums. Like when you just see those kind of things. Do you ever see More Justice in museums, like or like
100%.
More Justice installation, like
100%? Like I have dreams of that. I've always wanted to do an installation pre even having a brand. Like I was like, I love the arts. Like I would like totally definitely have like some type of installation based off of whatever it is I'm doing. Just because I'm very DIY, like I said, hands on.
Right.
I can create with my hands. I've built tables. I've like created so many different things. So
that's active.
Installation.
That's active. You've built a table. That's fire. Hey, that's active. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing a lot of that. What can the people expect next, like in the near future? And how do they keep up with everything happening? So
next up is Run to the Sun, which is completely going to be screen printed by me and hand stitched by me, putting my blood, sweat, and tears into that one.
Wow.
And then you could keep up with me. Instagram is at Justice Marley and at More Justice for the brand. And the website is morejustice.co. Co.
Fire. Yeah, I want to. So you mentioned this hand stitching. I just feel like people like really should understand how much that is. Like, how much of you are you putting into this for this?
Like, yeah, it's pretty tedious. I remember when I was actually in design school and I was hand stitching on like hats. My professor was like, "That's gonna be a waste of your time. Like, you're gonna eventually like want to like mass produce." But I enjoy that stuff. So if I drop, an exclusive, a limited amount, I'm good with it.
And those, I feel like those moments are special. You know, like I guess this is perfect. Like, I mean, because on that mass production, right? Like that kind of, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like the quality of the quality gets lost? Do you feel like it's possible to maintain it? Like, or do you appreciate those like more unique moments of?
For me and for my brand, I do I operate off of a small batch process and production, just because you don't need that much. There's so many brands, it's oversaturated. I think people enjoy having a unique piece or having something that they know a million people don't have. There's
luxury.
only 50 pieces of this. I got it, you got it. When you see me, we link up because we're like, oh, More Justice. All right, bet.
Yeah,
the vibe.
You got that. Yeah,
you got that.
I read somewhere that's the real definition of luxury. It's about the access to it, and that's that makes More Justice a very much luxurious. It's an experience.
Yeah.
Just organically, not on some we can't get it, but it's you're right. It's it's only so much.
It's only so much, and like I said, the it's like everyone has a brand. It's kind of oversaturated. The meaning behind this isn't to like necessarily become like be like making $1 million from it. It's just like really like tapping into my experience, you know, my spirituality.
Just curating moments for people to be a part of.
Exactly. Because it's also based on, like I said, More Justice is a brand that weaves together community, culture, and creativity. So it's not just about clothes, you know?
Facts. So that's making me think too, like, you know, because I feel like we're in an age where fast fashion is starting to, like, people are seeing the difference. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about where fashion and culture is kind of, it's almost a similar conversation to music, but what are your thoughts about where fashion has been and so on and so forth?
It's actually like when I see like smaller brands, smaller designers designing things, and like, you know, we post our work on the internet all day, every day, and then I see like bigger brands or like, you know, a fast fashion company like definitely completely knocking off someone's design, and
which
like,
happens so
often. And then like going to school for design, it's like there really isn't any laws that can like protect that, really, like, you know. Like I feel like,
wow, that's interesting.
It's like, it's not like they could tweak one thing and it's not yours anymore, you know what I'm saying? It's like so tiny, like they could literally tweak one thing and then it's just like, nope, that's not your design.
There's no like general like law infrastructure on that.
No, I feel like if you patent, I don't know, I'm using the wrong term, but I know that Louboutin, they have that specific color, that red color, and they can only use that red color.
Like a trademark situation.
But people still buy it.
It's like,
it's hard to really take control of that.
Right, because everything is kind of free domain or creative.
Once you put things on the internet, it's not really yours anymore.
Isn't that, that shows, I mean, the level, I mean, I'd be like, maybe it's critical, but like that comes to the respect and appreciation people have for the art and what they're viewing it as. You know, like there's people who view designers in that same way. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're like, oh, like this is a piece, and then there's people who are just like, oh, that's a nice shirt. Let me make something like that.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
and it's so different. I feel like that's the cool thing about traveling. You know, like when you travel, I don't know, like what you're like. Those experiences you've had, like when you travel and people see your designs and you see like people's responses from different areas, I'm like, okay, you can see where the value is. You know, just on some human exchange energy. But that's so interesting you say that, for real. Like it's definitely shifting. How do you feel like with your brand you kind of navigate that and stay true to, you know, what it is and the morals that you want people to pick up off?
Just like when I'm designing, I really have to design with intention, like my truest like reasoning behind the design, and like how I feel when I read something or I feel when I see something, and what you know, the emotion that it gives me. Like I said, when I wear my More Justice out, and as simple as the More Justice essentials are, it's like people gravitate to it and they're like, yes, we love that. And
what are the More Justice essentials?
They're hoodies, sweats, just like everyday wear, cozy wear that you can like rock and just feel like you're representing something that like matters.
Simple.
Know? Yeah.
You could throw it on real easy.
Yeah, and it matches with any and everything.
Yo, my favorite be the trucker. Like that really goes. Like
Truckers
that's my vibe.
are my favorite. I love hats.
Yeah, I do need to. I'm like, nah, like because I remember an age where all I would do, like this, like my wintertime vibe is like I just be going out in sweats, like the two pieces.
Exactly.
Like, so that's where it comes in. So it comes in handy. Like,
and I'm a cozy girl, so I'm like, listen, I'm throwing on some sweats.
Yeah, literally, right? Like, and I feel like maybe when that was around the time we ran into each other at the Zara.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, damn, you know what? I can't be going out to these meetings in sweats now. Like I was going. It was opening night for the play, and it was like the day before. I don't know why I was trying to find my outfit the day before this thing opened, and I'm like in Zara trying to figure out what I'm about to wear, and I look up. I'm like, oh, is that Justice? I was like, oh, hey, like, what's up? Like, I'm struggling to find this fit. Like, and it was so, like, I'm just sitting here, we're just chatting it up. And then, like, I'm like, yeah, what do you think about this? And then I got that sweater, and it's like my favorite sweater.
Yo,
like,
that was a
to
good
this
moment.
day.
I was so happy. I was like definitely helping you out today.
Yo, literally, like you were just like, yo, I got you.
Right.
Like, it was like the best styling experience I've had, where it was like in the moment. I was just like, yo, this is so amazing. Like
It was definitely in the moment.
And to this day, I wear that sweater like once a week, and it's like every time I wear it, people was like, yo, this is dope. I'm out last night, people were like, yo, this is a dope knit. I'm like, I don't know about
You're like,
the knit.
yo, hey, but it's fly.
That's fine though. Yeah, it's cozy. The breeze feels good. Like, it's crazy. And I always tell that story when people, I'm like, yo, hey, I don't know nothing about this sweater, but Justice hooked it up and held it down. Like, hey, anybody out there looking for somebody for your styling needs, More Justice, come on, you got you covered. I'm like that, and you gonna be getting compliments for the rest.
You're gonna be getting compliments for the rest of your life.
Since then, I'm like, dang, like, you know, hey, now I gotta, you know, we got ideas of what works. And as an artist, that's so important. Like, that's like a real, it builds your confidence, you know what I'm saying? It builds like your ability to go and connect and start conversations. Like, a stylist is so important. Like,
yeah, and as long as like you know your silhouette that you like, you know, there's like different ways, because we can
I ain't never heard nobody say that. That's a bar.
Yeah.
Come on, remember
that. You know your silhouette. You know what looks best on you. You can make it happen.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Hey, yo, I can't wait to see more styling work that you're doing. I can't wait to see the installation.
Yo, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, your installation.
You need to be a part of that.
Oh yeah. We out there.
Little soundtrack,
Come on, you know. Come through with the mod synths in the back. You know what I'm saying?
You already know.
That's fire. Oh, I can't wait for people to see what's going on. Justice, thank you so much for being here and dropping and sharing some more of your stories.
Yeah.
What do you want to leave the people with? Speaking of stories, just something to remember. So for all those creators out there listening, that's in the place of thinking about their future and where they want to take it, what you want to leave the folks with?
Hey, be you and don't give up on yourself. Like, even when the time gets hard, just don't give up on yourself. Keep pushing. Everyone like thinks like we're all in our head, and I think like a lot of the times like we're there and everyone else is there too. So just remember, like, get out your head, because the masses are in their head, and once you get out, you'll be free.
Free, come on.
Freedom.
More justice, more freedom.
More freedom.
Justice, thank you. FTF Radio, you know where to keep up with everything.
For the future.